everyone, I'm Renae and I'm back for another Color Cube series painting. This is volume 1 by Sarah Renae Clark, and today's palette is number 16. This is again very fall. I kind of feel like I've entered into a fall section in her color palettes, which is really appropriate because when I'm filming this, it's September and we're kind of anticipating that change in the weather. Although I live where it's really hot still, so I'm not feeling the change in the weather just yet. So today for my colors, for taupe, I have this Americana paint. It's called Desert Sand. For mustard, I have mixed my own mustard. This is dioxazine purple, Hansa yellow, and white. For flame, I have red oxide, which is sort of on the dark end of this color palette. But flame, when I color swatch reds with it, flame is much more orange. So red oxide is a good match. For olive, I have olive green. So that should be a really good match. And I don't really have anything for camel. I have pulled out this Arteza paint. Sorry about the glare. It is deep, pearl deep brown. So we'll see. I might throw that in for some dark, for some metallic, and I also have just some fun mark making tools. These are Stabillo Woodies. They're like a crayon, and this one is a tempera paint stick, which is a really fun, it's like painting with lipstick. So that'll be fun. Today I'm using this mixed media pad. It is a paper by Fabriano and it is sold at Hobby Lobby in the United States. And it is 17 by 14 inches and 110 pounds. So this is about the biggest. You can see it fills almost the entire frame of my filming setup. So this is about as big as I can get and film. So today I'm going to do another grid painting. These are really fun to do, and if you don't like one grid, you might like another grid. And instead of painting or taping these off in rectangles, I have taped them off into diamonds, which I'm really excited about. I just kind of eyeballed it. I used my cutting mat and sort of measured, so I think they're basically even. I did not take the time to seal all of the tape edges with gesso or with a medium, just because it was a lot of work to tape, and I just want to get into painting. So if you do want really sharp edges when you tape off borders or patterns within your artwork, you always want to seal those edges with either a clear gesso. I mean, you could use a white gesso or something like gloss gel, something to fill in those tiny little cracks and bubbles, and then you get really, really clear, sharp edges. I apologize for the glare. My window is right over there, and it doesn't have, it's a very high window. It doesn't have a covering, and the sun is very bright today. So you can see, we can do some finger puppets in these shadows. So I apologize for that. But let's get started. All right, I'm going to get started with my pencil and do some mark making, and then this is my tempera paint stick. The really fun thing about tempera paint sticks is they come on really creamy, but they will dry and they will set. So when they're creamy, you can kind of scratch through them and move them around and smear them, but then once they're set, they'll stay with the way you've put them down. And this is my Stabillo. It's like a watercolor or water-soluble pencil. You can use it to create watercolor effects with water. It will smear. And I decided to start with this dark brown, this bronzy, deep brown color, because I decided I want it dark in my background. And the camera isn't picking it up, but it's quite metallic, so it's got this really beautiful sheen. And here I'm coming in with my other colors. So this is the beige, and I'm just going to keep layering now my colors on top of each other. I don't really have any specific pattern in mind, but I am thinking of fall. This is sort of a fall color palette. And so I'm thinking about leaves falling and the patterns that they make as they twirl and spin and they land. And that's kind of informing some of the shapes that I make. And I'm also just trying to fill in white space. And then here with my tempera paint stick, I'm coming back in and I'm really like exaggerating this idea of leaves falling, and they twirl and they twist as they come down and they make circle shapes. So I've added those in to the background. This is one of my favorite stencils. I'm going to use 3 stencils. They're all from Joggles, and I will list them in the description box below if you're interested in finding out more about them. This one is called Tweed, and it's one of my favorites. It creates these wonderful scratched in lines. It's kind of a wonky, they're not perfect angles, and so I really like how it creates this wonky grid. And because the lines are not straight, you know, there are bigger shapes and there are smaller shapes, and I can look at that stencil and kind of decide, do I want the bigger shapes? Do I want the smaller shapes? And I move the stencil around so that I get the pattern traveling in different directions as well. This is just a really, really fun stencil. I use it a lot. And these are the mustard. The red oxide is much more opaque, and it feels like when I put it down, it's very much in the forefront. This mustard is more translucent, so as I put it down, it kind of moves into the background layers. The two work really well together. It's a beautiful color combination. And again, I'm just looking through that stencil to find some of the white areas, because I don't mind some of the white peeking through, but I want, for the most part, it to be colored in. So with this one, I wasn't sure if I wanted the stencil to be light or dark. And so I experiment a little bit with making it light, making it dark, and I kind of go through some mediums as well. And I decide in the end that I really like it, that dark, dark brown. And so I do end up coming back through with just that deep brown. And what I end up doing is making kind of a frame. So I put it heavily in the corners, and then I go back and I attach the sides as well, so that I've got this really dark, feathery kind of frame. And I like the way that the grid pattern, which is very straight, even though they're not straight lines, they still are straight and squares. And this one, which is very round and feathery, I like how they balance each other. And then inside that dark frame, I'm coming back with some lighter color. This is probably a mix between the beige and the mustard. So I create kind of an outer frame which is really dark and an inner frame which is really light. And in retrospect, having finished this, I do wish I had picked a pattern that was slightly larger. So the tweed patterns, they leave very small squares and rectangles and wonky shapes. And this little feathery stencil is also very small. So while the shapes look nice next to each other, the round versus the square, they're the same kind of general size. And I think it would have been more interesting to have one or the other have been bigger. So now I have this sort of dark brown outer frame and this light inner frame, and now I'm going to add, this is a stencil called Leaves, which I think is appropriate since I'm feeling very fallish and I'm thinking about fall leaves and, you know, sort of outside yards with leaves on them. And so this just seemed absolutely perfect. And again, the description box will have the information on how to find these at Joggles really easily. They have a number associated with them as well as their name. And either way, you can go to joggles.com and search using their name or their number. So now I'm coming in with some red leaves and I'm turning them around so that they face different directions. And I am trying to kind of pick out the biggest triangles just to add, because at this point I have realized that all of my shapes are really small. They're all very similar and small. So I'm trying to pick out some of the bigger triangles just to create something that's a little bit different. And my third layer, I start with this beige, which I don't really like. So then I move to mustard to try to, I want some of that brightness to come up so it's not all these dark colors. But I don't know, it didn't really work to the degree I wanted. So now I've decided to overlay the triangles that I already have with this Lunar paste, which is a copper. So it's got a really nice, beautiful sheen to it. And I'm not looking for the exact same triangle that I put down the first time, which would take forever. I'm just looking for something that's close-ish. And if it fills it in, it's fine. And if it leaves some of the first layer of paint visible, then that's fine too. This is a gold mica paste that I'm using now. Again, just trying to create, all those triangles just sort of looked flat to me. And so I'm trying to create a little bit of depth and some shine. So I'm filling in ones that already have triangles, and then with this gold mica paste, I'm actually doing some that are going to be just the gold mica paste. So I'm extending sort of the borders out. I think iridescent really works well with this color palette. It just sort of lends itself to that shine, the gold, the copper, the bronze. Yeah, I really love it. And now I'm going to come in with this paint marker in copper to cover over even some more. So I have the copper Lunar paste is a slightly different color tone than this marker. So it will just add some more interest. And unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it, but once I finished this video and I had, pulled up the tape and I let it sit out to dry for a few days. I had already edited the video, but I haven't done the voiceover yet. But I decided to go around each of the diamond shapes, you'll see at the end, in a gold marker. So I end up outlining each of the diamonds in gold. And I think that really pulled it all together and made it look really finished and interesting. And unfortunately, that photo didn't make it into this video. So you'll have to use your imagination at the end when you see the big reveal. And imagine all of the diamonds outlined in gold. It really turned out very beautifully. And now, yay, I'm going to remove the tape. So I'm really excited about this. I feel like it's very busy, and I'm going to keep the tape. I'm just taking it off and putting it on a bit of copy paper. But I feel like the painting is very busy, and I'm hoping that introducing this grid where it's just white is going to help sort of tame some of that crazy busyness. I'm just using this this tape, I'm just putting it off onto a piece of white copy paper, and I'm sure there are better ways to store your tape, but I can use this now as homemade washi tape, which is really interesting and beautiful in its own right. And yeah, there probably are better ways to store it, but this is just how and I'll show you at the end the ones that I kept. Yeah, so imagine each of those diamonds outlined in gold. It really finishes the piece beautifully. And here it is. I think it's really interesting. I love that I did the diamond pattern rather than the normal grid pattern. I think it does make this more interesting as a whole piece rather than, I think if I were looking to cut it up and use smaller pieces, I would have definitely preferred just the standard grid pattern. But this will look beautiful in a frame and put up in the house for fall. It's just a great piece. I love the colors. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Here are the washi tapes that I've got. All of the shimmering metallics are just beautiful. It makes each piece look really gorgeous. Yeah, so thanks for being here with me today. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like to stick around and watch some more videos, I recommend this one to you. And otherwise, thanks for being here and happy painting. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.